One of Zelensky's campaign promises was to end long-standing tensions between Ukraine and Russia, and in doing so, he tried to open the door to talk with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, while the rest of his campaign agenda was vague. Unlike other presidents of Ukraine, Zelensky was more toward private economic policy and focused his efforts on the field of the economy on reducing the role and the influence of the government. For this reason, with the beginning of the process of reducing the power of the government in the economy and shrinking the role of the government, which has led to the decreasing of the welfare state policy in Ukraine, Zelensky's popularity also decreased among Ukrainian people, especially the middle class. But the start of the war changed everything. Ukrainian politics in the early 21st century focused on rapprochement with the European Union to strengthen economic foundations and develop business infrastructure. This issue has repeatedly played an important role in the politics and economy of Ukraine. The 2014 Ukrainian Revolution is an example of the priority of the economy in politics and national identity in Ukrainian society. In November 2013, a wave of large-scale protests erupted in response to President Yanukovych's decision not to sign a free trade with the European Union in favor of closer ties with Russia and the Eurasian Economic Union. Protesters gradually demanded the resignation of Yanukovych. In January and February 2014, clashes between protesters and police resulted in the deaths of 108 protesters, with many others injured. On February 22, 2014, the Ukrainian parliament voted to remove Yanukovych from the presidency. Reacting to his ouster, Yanukovych said the vote was illegal and possibly forced and asked Russia for help. Russia considered the overthrow of Yanukovych an illegal coup. The interim government, led by Arseniy Yatsenyuk, signed a cooperation agreement with the European Union, and Petro Poroshenko became the president of Ukraine after winning the 2014 presidential election. Russia's attack on Ukraine made the issue of national identity and political concerns the priority of Ukrainian issues. When Russian army invaded Ukraine on February 24, 2022, Zelensky became one of the most celebrities in the American media. Zelensky was at the lowest level of popularity on the eve of the start of the war, but the start of the war and his reliance on people's resistance to the war caused his popularity to increase. The fall of Kabul and the flight of Ashraf Ghani, the president of Afghanistan, from his country had gradually created a kind of pessimism toward the leaders of the government. All over the world, the belief was gradually spread among the people of the world that the political leaders involve their country in dangerous, and when they feel that their security is in danger, they quickly flee their country and leave the people in the middle of chaos. Russia, having organized an all-out attack against Ukraine, expected a very quick and decisive victory. Before the start of the war, the countries from free world warned their people to leave Ukraine. After the start of the war, these countries asked Zelensky to leave Ukraine, or at least move the center of the country's administration from the city of Kiev to western regions. The initial advance of Russia in the battle and the decisive dominance of its aircraft in the sky of Ukraine confirmed the possibility of the fall of Kiev, but Zelensky remained in the presidential seat against the prediction of experts. Since the start of the war, Zelensky has always appeared in videos and public wearing a military uniform and called for the general mobilization of the Ukrainian people against Russia. He repeatedly emphasized that he has no intention of leaving Ukraine and will remain in his country to fight against Russia. After the start of the war, the people of Ukraine showed special support to Zelensky after seeing his perseverance against Russia, and Zelensky's popularity increased. The spread of patriotism of the Ukrainian people showed itself in an unprecedented way against Russia, which are closely related to each other in terms of race, culture, and language. During his presidency, Zelensky could not fulfill his economic commitment to the people of Ukraine. He came to the presidency with the promise of peace with Russia, but in the end, he failed in his promise. Thanks to the military assistance of the United States and NATO members, the Ukrainian army has been able to show respectable resistance against Russia. Putin made a serious miscalculation during the war with Ukraine. He did not imagine the patriotism of the Ukrainian people and their resistance to the domination of a foreign country, and he expected that the political and military threats of Russia against Ukraine would cause Zelensky to surrender. Zelensky's standing in front of Putin caused many countries of the world to bow down to the courage of the Ukrainian people, and Zelensky was recognized as a symbol of resistance among many people of the world. As one of the most important political figures over the last 20 years, Putin has suffered important mistakes in his political life, but it seems that the war in Ukraine is the worst mistake in his political life. With the start of the Ukrainian war, he made Zelensky a hero among the people of Ukraine and a legend among the people of the world. Zelensky was able to become a national hero by taking advantage of the patriotism of the Ukrainian people. As long as the war in Ukraine continues, Zelensky is the first man of this war in public opinion and the hearts of the freedom fighters and patriots all over the world.